A big shout out today goes out to my daughter, Bridget. She's my third child. She's 23, and she will be graduating on Friday with her doctorate in occupational therapy. So we will be having family in town this weekend to celebrate her, and what a huge accomplishment. I'm so proud of her. Congratulations, Bridget. When I asked her for an interview I was prepping for, what is one task that you would say someone should do, an easy task to set themselves up for success? And she said, make your bed. And then the next thing she said was, do a 10-minute tidy before you go to bed to make sure the whole house is picked up. So there's her advice for everyone out there. And if you are out there and you're like, Tracy, you haven't seen my home, you don't know what it's like. I've always been disorganized. I'm stuck in this place and I feel so overwhelmed. I want you to join us in Organized Life Academy. In 2026, I will be focused on all of the emotions that go with decluttering, all of the identity shifts you need, and how to do that. What does that even mean? And how do you do it? And how do you become organized when you never have been, or you feel so deep that you can't make any changes and you look around and you feel so overwhelmed. And so we are going to be talking about all of that in 2026. We already have 31 amazing women in this group, in this community, and probably more by the time this goes live that are going to be joining you, that are so supportive. Come join us. If you're on the fence and you can't decide, what is it that's holding you back? What is it that's stopping you from taking that action? I want to help you, just talk you through deciding what you want to do, what's best, or what's holding you back. You probably want to get organized, but there's something stopping you. So let's talk about it. You can message me on Instagram at Tracy Hoth or text me at 816-343-9413 and let me know what's holding you back. Let's talk it through so that you can get organized in your life, in your home, in your mind, on your calendar, with your time. All of that is possible. And lean into my belief that it is possible for you and say yes to Organized Life Academy. Go to simplysquaredaway.com/yes. Make 2026 the year that you get organized, the year that you become organized, inside and out. Now, Rachel Carta and I recorded this episode quite a while back, but as I listened to this, it is the best time in the world that it could be going live. And the thing that stands out to me and that gets me actually so excited and relieved at the same time is she said simplicity is the favorite word when it comes to thinking about your health. And as I've been drawn to that at the end of 2025, looking into next year and planning for my next year, simplicity is my favorite word. And she says the most powerful thing you can do is implement small, repeatable habits. Small and repeatable. Doesn't that sound easy rather than something complex and hard and something we can't sustain? And so as she shares about her specialty, your body, she says, every symptom that you are feeling are signals. And what she does is helps her clients find the root. And so throughout this whole episode, we're relating it to our business, we're relating it to organization, and we're relating it to our health and our body. You are going to love it. You're going to love Rachel. She explains things so well and makes them so simple and gives so much hope, I think. So let's get into the episode. Are you ready to work less, feel more organized and productive, streamline repetitive tasks, and implement systems that allow your coaching business to run smoothly even without you? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Organized Coach Podcast, your go-to source for practical tips and solutions. I'm your host, Tracy Hoth, professional organizer, certified life coach, simplifying expert, and most of all, down-to-earth fellow coach just like you. No matter if you think you're missing the organizing gene, have ADHD, or just love anything organizing, I'm here to help you become an organized coach with a business that works for you. Pull up a seat and let's get started. This is going to be such an interesting topic today because I think a lot of us look at our businesses and think, we're behind, we have so much to do. And a lot of times we think it's a mindset issue when we experience body things, pain, sickness, whatever. And I want to talk about all of that. And I have a very expert guest, Rachel Carta, on the podcast today. Welcome, Rachel, first of all.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy.
Okay, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself? Tell us about who you are, what your business is. I think it's so interesting and you're so passionate about it. I just love what you know and your expertise.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name's Rachel Carta. I'm a registered nurse, a functional nutrition counselor, and life coach. And I help women who feel like their bodies are kind of betraying them, like things are going wrong. They have digestive issues, they have anxiety, low energy, mood swings. And what I do is, and it's something really different, is I get to the root of what is going on. So normally when we have symptoms, we might go to the doctor and we might get a medication, and it might basically cover the symptom or make us feel better in the moment. But we all know that that doesn't always work and that things come back or they come back in a different way. So what I do is I uncover what's really going on in your body so that you can actually have real relief. And this all came from my own struggles with chronic migraines and gut issues and burnout after working as a nurse on a COVID unit. We could get into that at some point.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And as I was trying to figure out what was going wrong in my body, there was no one that could help me. There was no one that had the answer. It was just, here's another med, here's another med, here's another med, and nothing was working. And I can actually very vividly remember having a conversation with my neurologist, and this was like the third one I had seen. I was standing outside and I literally said to her, I think I'm going to try celery juice because nothing you're giving me is helping me. And at the time, I was newly married, living in a new state, like I said, working as a COVID nurse, and I was falling apart. So when I found functional nutrition, it literally felt like a lifeline. It was like something turned on the lights. I finally understood that all the symptoms I was feeling were connected. The gut issues, the migraines, the mood swings, this nervous system overload, everything was connected and my body wasn't broken. It was just sending out signals. Something deeper was out of balance. And I always say, symptoms that you're feeling are signals. So it also, after I went through this journey and I learned about getting to the root of what was going on, it seemed like it pulled everything together. The nursing knowledge that I had, 20 years as a yoga instructor and personal trainer, and just lover of all things health and wellness, it helped me to see my body as a whole system, not just one symptom to fix. Like if someone's struggling with focus, it's not just one thing that can be fixed. There's a myriad of reasons why something could be going on. And also, I just want to add that I also figured out, I don't know if you're seeing this, it's very popular now to hear the word perimenopause.
Uh-huh.
I feel like maybe even 5 years ago, no one was talking about that, right? And now it's on my feed a lot. I don't know if it is on yours, but this can begin as early as 35 years old. And I figured out that this was a huge issue for me. It's a hormone imbalance. It's hormone changes. There are at least 100 documented symptoms that can be happening for women that have a huge effect on life. One of the biggest ones is a loss of resilience, mood swings, anxiety, digestive issues. Hey, migraines, right? Like sleep issues. And this like sense of overwhelm that feels, where did this come from? I used to handle my life. And now all of a sudden I'm not handling things. So as a business owner and starting my own business, basically after working with myself, I knew I wanted to help other women with these kind of things. So really I focus on the mood swings and anxiety, the digestive issues and the stress and overwhelm. I knew that I had to serve women like this. And then as I got further into perimenopause, I'm noticing, wait, I used to be able to handle a lot more stuff, like what's going on. And so we learn that our bodies are changing. Things are changing. Hormones are shifting. The way we see the world isn't the same anymore, right? And so that's my business. I hope I answered it.
I have so many questions now.
But that I'm so passionate about this because I feel like we go to the doctor and I'm not bashing the medical system because they have a wonderful place, life-saving. Everything is like there's so many advancements that are amazing. But when you have a chronic ongoing symptom and you go to the doctor and you get your labs read and everything's fine, but you're like, but wait, it's not fine. It's so frustrating. And
Mhm.
so that's why I'm just so passionate about teaching and helping people understand that every symptom, I'll say it again 100 times, is a signal from your body that something more is going on. And we have to find the root. We have to look for it. And we have to heal that so that our body can come into balance.
Yes. Okay. First, I wrote a couple things down of questions, but first, when you noticed this was happening with you, did you go to did you find a functional medicine coach? Did you just get certified yourself? What was your next step in healing that in yourself?
What a great question. So I was already doing a bunch of health things because, again, I was a personal trainer and yoga teacher for many years. But I think that I literally think it was an ad that came across my Instagram feed for the certification itself. And I remember being on a call with the person who was selling that program, and I just started to fall in love with it. And again, at the time, fast forward from my COVID nursing, I became a hospice nurse. So here I am watching what chronic disease looks like at the very end of life. And so as this person is describing what functional nutrition does, I'm all in. I'm all in, right? So I sign up, I become, I'm in the program and I start applying everything I'm learning to my own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see things shift. And that's really how it came about. And then I also worked with a practitioner from that school as a client so that I could because honestly, it's really hard. I don't know if you see this like in your world, but when you're in your business or you're in your health thing, you can't see everything. Like you have to zoom out so that someone else can kind of see what's there. And
Uh-huh.
I still have people I work with that look at my story because it's hard to see it yourself.
Yes, that's so true. Okay, I love when you said that your body's what were they? Are signals? Your body's what? Symptoms are signals.
Mhm,
And I think about that. The thing that came to my mind when you said that is that our emotions are signals
mhm,
for things that are happening within us. And I love thinking your body's symptoms are signals.
mhm. Yes. I just wanted to take that for a second because there is some absolutely fascinating research and science talking about the effect of our emotions on our body and that they literally have an effect. So things like childhood trauma, things like really stressful events, stuff like that have an actual impact on your gut. So we could really go down a long rabbit hole with that. But just to say that, you know, your emotions actually affect your body from a physiological standpoint. So when you take time with your emotions and you know, journal about them, when you work through them, when you feel them, you are literally impacting your physical health.
Mm, that's so good to know. So then my question becomes, how do you know when it's a medical issue versus an emotional issue versus a stress issue? Like, what is the process of figuring that out? And when I think of that, when I just said figuring it out, I'm like, it seems like a long process. And then all of a sudden, dollar signs just build up. And then I'm like, what if we never figure it out? And I go down this whole path. So speak to that.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so what I see a lot in my clients is women who have gone down that dollar sign path. They've been to specialist after specialist to try to figure out, especially with gut issues, like what's going on? Why am I having constipation? Why am I having diarrhea? Why am I so bloated that I feel like I'm 6 months pregnant all the time after I eat? I see them after all that. And so
Mm.
when you said, and I want to go back to something you said, which was How do we know if it's medical? And by the way, this is not medical advice. We're not giving medical advice. Should have said that in the beginning. This is just, me talking about what it is that I do.
Uh-huh.
When you say, is it stress? Is it emotion? Is it something medical? Number one, if you even suspect something's going on, obviously you go to your doctor, right? And you figure out what they want to say and want them to help. But at the end of the day, everything is connected. So my nutrition teacher, my mentor, she says all the time that everything is connected, all things matter, and we are all unique. And that brings us to the fact that there's no one size fits all approach. And I know that sounds kind of vague, and what can people do? And we will get to some action steps. But what I do when I work with people is I take in the whole story, the emotions, the stress, and the symptoms. And then I'm trained to help get to the root. 3 roots that everything comes from, okay? And this is a simplified view of this.
Mm-hmm.
Genes, digestion, and inflammation, okay?
What was the first one?
Genes.
Okay.
Right? And to go back to that, some people think, well, if this is in my genetics, it's definitely going to happen. And that's absolutely not true, because our genes can turn on or off. Okay. Now, I'm 5 feet tall, and so that's a genetic thing, and I'm probably not going to change that. Okay. But there are things like I have heart disease in my family, which is a huge reason why I do what I do, because I watched what that did to my father. I have the ability with something called epigenetics. This is how we influence our genetics, whether they turn on or off. Okay. I have the ability to basically affect whether or not I end up with heart disease. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So, to sum that up, I'm really the one who's looking at the whole story, which is not something that you will see a regular primary care doctor do.
Yeah. Yes. And I like how you said that people typically go to their doctor first, and they do go through all those things. One of the things that keeps staying in my mind is just the autoimmune diseases that we all have. And what do you think about that?
Oh my goodness. Well, what's amazing about any autoimmune disease, okay, is you want to think about any symptom like a branch on a tree. Okay. So if you think of the autoimmune symptoms or the autoimmune disease or diagnosis, that's a branch on a tree. It's not the root of the problem. Okay. Something in the genes, digestion, and inflammation, something has affected your body that it's manifesting an autoimmune condition, which stands to reason that so when we think about those 3 roots and we say, well, okay, genes, digestion, inflammation, what do I do? We want to think about the terrain in which those roots are growing. So think about your garden, if you have a garden, and you think about the soil of your garden, right? So when I lived near the ocean, my soil was really sandy and I had a hard time growing stuff. Now I'm in Pennsylvania, the soil's a lot better because there's farms everywhere. Plants are growing better. So we want to look at the soil where the roots live. The roots are the genes, digestion, and inflammation. The soil is how we affect change. So to answer the question about the autoimmune, it's like it's a perfect storm. There are so many things going on with your stress, your mindset, your nutrition, the environment where you live. And it kind of sets off, it's almost like there's a switch that's flicked in the body, and many things can turn that switch on. And now all of a sudden your body is basically attacking itself, which is what that autoimmune word means, that our own immune system has kind of turned against us in a way where it's manifesting symptoms. But there's so much hope. There's so much hope for autoimmune because we go back to the terrain where the roots live, and we start doing the things that will allow those triggers to reduce.
Yeah. I come back to where I think even in my own business, I'm like, oh, if I work on this for this long, I mean, and it doesn't work, it's just a waste. I used to have that thought a lot. Now I've been working on and shifting that to, no, the journey along the way is so worth it. And I'm learning so much. I think of that with what you were just talking about too. Even if, all your symptoms aren't cured, the journey along the way, and making the soil healthier and learning things about how the soil is affecting the plants and the roots and like all of that is so useful along the way. Like there's no downside to learning that.
Absolutely. That's such a great point because especially in an autoimmune journey, it's not something that's going to fix in a short time because there's been a long time and the body is so complex. Like it's so amazingly, miraculously complex that things don't fix overnight. And so I love that you said, what's happening along the way. And I
Hmm.
can see that even with my own migraine journey, because migraines are really difficult to fix. And that's why that's not my main primary thing because I'm still on that journey, right? And all along the way, when you're on this journey to heal the soil, you learn, what does this food make me feel? How do I feel when I eat this thing? We're tuning into the body's reaction to foods, but we're also tuning in. What happens when I'm in this environment with people that feel like they're pulling my energy down? How is my body reacting?
Mm.
What happens when I don't get enough sleep? How do I feel? Can I really focus on my business that day? Or do I feel like everything feels like it's pulling teeth and I feel like I'm failing at my business, but maybe I just didn't get enough sleep that night. And we're
Yeah.
blaming ourselves for how we feel, but really it's something that could be a body symptom.
Yeah. Well, that kind of makes me think if we tie it into our business, like our body obviously is who we are and it's affected by all of it. But I think about people who feel like they're always pushing, but they never catch up. And I
Mm.
know that's a story behind business. Like we have a non-ending to-do list. And in your home, I guess you always do too, especially if you have kids and you're raising a family and then you have work or a business on top of that. Like, what is your thoughts about that?
Well, and I think you're right that there is part of a mindset behind that. I mean, you've personally helped me with that so much. And I think that never-ending to-do list, like there's so many practical ways that you teach to come to be more on top of that in a way that feels empowering and to realize like what are these things that are important and what are not. I always say that your brain cannot distinguish what is most important. So if you have in the moment, I mean, so if you have like say 20 things on your list, your nervous system, your survival thinks everything is equally important.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes us moving from survival to the prefrontal cortex of your brain to know what is most important.
Right.
When you were on my podcast, the silly example was grandmother's trinkets, organizing grandmother's trinkets feels as important from your nervous system
Hmm.
as producing your next lead magnet that's going to help your business to move forward, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where we need to shift. So we need to shift from that fight or flight survival nervous system into a more what's called parasympathetic nervous system that turns your prefrontal cortex on so that you can look at your 20 things and you can say, okay, what really matters today? So that's part of it. But there's also some things that could be going on behind the scenes. You know, as you mentioned, like we've been told that pushing harder and harder is how you make a business grow. I mean, we could talk a lot about that. But again, if your body's in that survival mode, it can be really hard to focus. I don't know if anyone's been there. I know I have. When I wake up in overwhelm, I'm in fight or flight, I'm in survival. How could I possibly be able to look objectively at what I'm supposed to do? It's kind of like running your business with a fire alarm going off in the background. So imagine that happening. Your nervous system's in that fight or flight. It's scanning for danger instead of thinking clearly. And then here's what also can be going on behind the scenes. Maybe you have blood sugar swings. Maybe you haven't eaten for 7 hours, and now all of a sudden your blood sugar's in the toilet and you're feeling irritable. Maybe you're sweating. Maybe suddenly you can't focus. You assume you're not doing a good job on your business, but your body is screaming for you for fuel, to eat, to hydrate, to move. Okay. You could be dealing with that stress overload, maybe from other things in life. Maybe you've got emotional challenges that are affecting your gut because of the gut-brain connection. Or there could be these hormone changes, like I really noticed in my own body, that could be triggering this, again, feeling foggy, feeling reactive. Or I love this one because it feels like your Wi-Fi turned off in your brain. It's like, wait, why can't I get the internet? What happened? My Wi-Fi's off. Okay. So it might not be a lack of discipline. It might be your body waving a red flag.
One thing that came up when you were talking, it's a lot like organizing. So if you're running a business or you have a job, a stressful job or whatever, and you know you need to get organized because it will help you solve a lot of your issues, but you don't, like, that feels hard. It's going to take time. It's going to take an investment. But you know that it will make a difference. Like, it could be the change you need. Same with what you help people with. Like, I would know that if I learned that, if I changed how I ate, if I slept more, if I did those things, if I understood what my body and how it reacted to things, it could change everything. But yet at the same time, oh, that's going to be hard. It's going to take hard work. I don't want to deal with that. I want to keep eating my junk food, whatever it is. So it's very similar. It's like deciding that's what you're going to invest your time and possibly money into to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting about that is people think that there's so many things they have to do to fix their health that it feels overwhelming. And not to mention, every single thing on your feed and on the internet is like screaming that this is the right thing to do, right? And so it can feel completely overwhelming. Sometimes this is kind of silly, but because I have a history of personal training and have learned every kind of workout, sometimes I don't even know what to do because my brain's like kettlebells, bands, weights. Like, my brain struggles unless I literally write down what it is that I want to do. So you've got that overwhelm of information of what to do, but the real truth is that simple, consistent actions move the needle. I always say small hinges swing big doors. Okay.
That's a good example. I picture the hinges on our doors.
Yeah, they're so small and they support these really heavy doors, right? And so the smallest things, I just posted something about this recently where I said, it might feel like taking 5 minutes of deep breathing when you wake up, or spending time making your overnight oats the night before. It might feel like you just don't have time to do these things, but these things could absolutely change the game for your health.
Yes. Same with organizing. You can sort 5 files into your folders. You can, add one bookmark to your bookmarks bar when you're using it. Little things like that totally make a difference.
100%. And Tracy's method of everything you just said changed my business completely.
I love that.
You find something. I mean, I still have so many more things to organize, but I know where everything is that I use on a daily basis. So it's changed the game for me.
Yeah.
And it helps keep that fight or flight response down, right? Because I don't have to be triggered when someone asks me for something and I can't find it. My nervous system doesn't have to go on high alert because it knows where to find it.
Oh my gosh, I love that you just said that. And we're going to have Rachel back on. She's going to talk specifically about what things she's done regarding that. But I love that you brought that up and relating it to your nervous system not being triggered. How have I never used that in my marketing?
Well, it's huge, Tracy, because a majority of people are actually stuck in fight or flight. Like, it's almost like the switch. Did you ever have like something electronic where the button is like pushed down and you can't get it to come back up again?
Oh, yes.
That's what people are walking around with. Now, I want you to think about something. We call it fight or flight. That's sympathetic nervous system. The opposite of that is called parasympathetic, rest and digest. Okay. So if you have digestive issues of any kind, okay, and you're stuck in fight or flight, how can your body possibly digest food correctly when that part of your nervous system is literally turned off or there's not a balance? Because fight or flight is not the enemy that people make it out to be. There's supposed to be a balance of things that we're moving from one phase to the next. But if we're stuck on all the time, it's little wonder why our digestion is off. And then when that's off, everything's off, because everything goes back to the gut. Even Hippocrates, like one of the oldest doctors in our, that has ever talked about medical things, said that things go back to the gut, that everything traces back to the gut. So just think about that one thing. You're looking for your files, you're looking at your giant to-do list, your kids are screaming at you from a different room. Maybe you've got emotional stress because you're caring for an aging parent. All of a sudden, your nervous system is turned on all the time. Of course you can't sleep. Of course your digestion's not moving. And guess what, everyone? It's not your fault. Okay?
Yeah.
And you're not broken, and your nervous system has every ability to heal.
Yeah, such hope right there. Every ability to heal. So what should we watch for? I mean, is there things that we can maybe understand if it's a mindset thing, if we just have to switch that, or we can be watching for signals or, anything we should be aware of?
Yeah, great question. The first thing that you can do, and this is the first step for anything, is to start to pay attention to yourself. Okay. Start to notice when you have any kind of symptom, whether that's a health symptom like digestion issues, maybe you feel more bloated, maybe all of a sudden you're getting a headache, maybe you feel more irritable. You're starting to notice what's going on in your body. And I have a free gift for your listeners that is going to help you do that.
Ooh.
And when we start to listen to the body, then we'll start to say, oh, wow, like this happens when I do this. One of the first things I do with clients is we do something called a pattern awareness inventory, where we start to say, when I do this thing, this is the result, physically, mentally, emotionally. Okay. And it starts to help us see what is hurting and what is helping. I used to call it what helps, what hurts before I got fancy with pattern awareness. But we start to really recognize our own patterns. And this is not to say stuff's your fault, but it's just to say, let's pay close attention to what's going on in our bodies. So that's really honestly the first step. It's not to necessarily change your whole protocol of life. It's not to say now you have to meditate for 6 hours a day, make sure you're working out every single day, eat tons of protein, walk with your weighted vest, right? Like the internet is screaming at us.
Right.
We need to do. We need to zoom out, get quiet, and say, what is my body doing right now? And how is it manifesting in this moment? What's going on in my body?
Okay. And I think people could then, it's kind of like a time audit. You're auditing what you're doing. You're auditing how your body is feeling. You could just jot that down too.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So are there any, let's say someone's noticing, yeah, I have a lot of signals. My body's having a lot of symptoms. Are there any small shifts that we can do to support our bodies and show up, maybe more clearly or more consistently or whatever?
Yes, absolutely. And I have 3 for you that you can implement, without even going any further. But remember, that first step is absolutely paying attention. But I will say, and I want everyone to really remember this, that the most powerful stuff, again, are small, repeatable habits. And I'm sure this is the same with organizing. Strict protocols that you try to implement for your health. Think about every time you started a new workout plan. Like or diet, like the more complicated it is, probably the shorter you did it.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything that's complicated does not last. Tony Robbins always says that complexity is the enemy of execution. Enemy of execution. And I believe that. So simplicity is like your favorite word when it comes to trying to fix your health and feel better. Because if something's complex, think about it. Kids get sick, work gets busier, your willpower can only take you so far. We can talk about willpower later, right? It's all about building tiny habits. And you want to think about it like scaffolding, holding up a building or holding up something. Like it's a support system, okay? Something as simple as a 3-minute nervous system reset, which could look a lot of different ways. 3 minutes of deep breathing. I like to teach my clients, like, As soon as you open your eyes, for me, like the default is, what do I have to do today? Okay. But I switch that to hand on my heart. I'm breathing. I'm living. I've gotten the chance for another day. And then I take it to a diaphragmatic breath, fancy word for deep belly breath. So you can actually feel your belly lift up and down because we spend most of the time breathing into our chest. We want to breathe into the belly to help calm the vagus nerve. This is a nerve that runs from your gut to your brain. And it's the whole thing behind the mind-gut connection.
Okay.
So we can hand on the heart, we can take a deep breath. And if that doesn't resonate with you, there could be something else. Maybe it's a prayer in the morning. Maybe it's you grab your journal and you just kind of do a brain dump of everything that's in your head. It's a way to say, I'm okay, I'm safe, nervous system feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can start to move forward with whatever else we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a slow down, a stop. And I know people are like, I can't. I have to jump out of bed. I have to do all these different things. You can do 30 seconds. You can do 1 minute. And if you can't, that's time to take another look. What's going on that we can't find 1 minute?
Well, I love how simple that is too. And I can even feel you came to my live event and you led us in some, well, what would you call them? Like focusing, calming activities. What would you call them?
Yeah. I mean, we moved our bodies in what's called body work is called somatics. So we moved our body to move stuck energy.
Yeah.
And we also were able to, I think I taught you guys how to just take a minute to tune in to what's happening inside.
Mm-hmm. And it was so calming. And yes, so even you saying it right now brought me back to then, and everybody loved it. The movement one was super fun, and everyone was doing it at different times throughout the week, the event, but it was so good. So, okay, that's number one.
Yeah. And I want to say something about that if you, at the end of this, when I give you my free gift, if you sign up for that, you'll get some emails from me that come as a result. But also the one of the last ones is a 5-minute breathing exercise. So you'll get something free that will help you to do that. And then as you're saying that, I should do a 5-minute movement one too. So I'll add that. I've been wanting to do that. So everything that actually moves the needle is really simple. I don't think I ever said that before.
But that's good to hear. We have to hear that over and over to know. Even organizing stuff, the little things are simple. Like we're making it so simple rather than complex. And so it's motivating to know, but we have to keep reminding ourselves of that. So I'm glad you said that again.
Let's add another Tony Robbins quote here, because he says repetition is the mother of mastery. Yeah. Repetition is the mother of mastery. So when you master hand on your heart, if that's your thing, right? If you master that, I'm breathing, I'm here, I have a chance to live another day. Then we take the breath into the belly, right? And we start to allow the nervous system to calm down before we even put our feet on the ground to get up for the day. You do that every day, and things in your health and your life will shift. And that's something that anyone can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah. And a couple other things, like one of the big, huge drivers of not having focus is blood sugar swings. And we could get into more detail another time if you want to. But even just to remember that all of your meals should include fat, fiber, and protein. And, keep it super simple, super simple. And when you create a meal that has those 3 things, it's going to help stabilize your blood sugar so you don't end up 1 hour after breakfast feeling irritable. Like, why am I so mad right now? Oh, wait, it's because I had a really high sugar or high carb. Carbs aren't the enemy. But when carbs live by themselves in your body, they spike your blood sugar. And so as soon as that spike goes up, it's going to crash and you're going to have a symptom. So you said, like, what are some simple things? We can look at our plate. And even if you don't know everything about protein and fat and fiber, again, keep it simple, right? Simple proteins. We can think about our chickens, our ground turkey, vegetarian options. You have your beans, you have your tofu, your tempeh, right? You can look at fat, avocados, olive oil, nuts and seeds, chia seeds. And then we can look at our fiber. So many people are like, what's fiber?
I know. I'm like, can you give me 5 fibers? I mean, I know it's huge and we need to increase our fiber.
Yeah. So, and that's a huge thing for women, especially because when we need to be getting 25 grams a day, and that might feel overwhelming. You can track to see what you're really getting for a little while. I don't advocate like tracking long term. It's too hard, too stressful, but it can be helpful to say, hey, am I getting enough? 25 is that magic number that women should be looking for. And there's a million reasons why that's super important. But what is it, right? Ready for simple? Fruits and vegetables, right?
Yeah. So simple.
Some have higher content than others. Like a tangerine is going to have maybe 2, where a cup of raspberries might have 5 grams. Okay. So some things have more than others. You can get great fiber in chia seeds. You can get fiber in nuts, beans, and whole grains. So it's really, again, we're trying to, like, people are adding fiber supplements to their food, which isn't wrong, but real food, real whole food that has been created with the perfect cofactors. Like God created it with all the things it needs for the body to break it down. And I just want to add that if you do have digestive troubles, like adding a bunch of fiber is a really bad idea because your body won't be able to handle it. So we want to start low and go slow if you have digestive troubles. If you don't, you can add your 25 grams and you should be okay. But if
it's so interesting. Like I've never tracked fiber,
right?
Even though, I know that we need fiber. I've never tracked it. It's not one of the top 3 that you track when you start tracking them. So, but
important things to track are fat, fiber, and protein. Those are the important things. And the fat to make sure you're having it because, in the 90s, low fat, how about how bad it was in the 90s with everything being low fat? Whenever I have clients that are of a certain age, they still have a hard time eating fat because of that time period in history where we were so wrong. But if you have trouble with brain fog, it's possible you're not eating enough good fat.
Well, and then I kind of feel like it flipped. Then you're all of a sudden supposed to eat so much. And now when I've tracked fat recently, I mean, I'm like, okay, I need to cut back a little bit on the fat because there was more than I needed. So it is interesting. Tracking is interesting. Okay. Did you have a third one? Shift?
Yeah. So we didn't talk about sleep. And sleep is really, really massive. Like if you had to start with one thing of everything we talked about, it would be to prioritize your sleep. And I know I've heard that a million times from everybody, and everyone's like, yeah, I need to get more sleep. But the thing is, during your sleep, this is when your body actually heals and repairs. So if you're trying to heal some chronic symptom and you're not getting sleep, well, of course it's not going to heal. Sleep is where things are going to be getting better and healing. Okay. So it has a huge effect on cravings. If you're having a lot of cravings, it could be, there's a lot of reasons for cravings. There's food, nutrient deficiencies, stuff like that. But step 1, let's improve your sleep. We all know that we should put our phones away from us. We actually just got a charging station for downstairs. So my plan is to put my phone down there and be the example for my kids. So that we just started. And it's really important because you might feel like you have to keep your phone in your hand, right? So we're talking about if you have trouble turning your screen off, say an hour before, like some people say, what if it's just 30 minutes? What if you start with that and then build it up? We also want I always call this with my clients like a yummy sleep routine. Something that's like, oh, I just love to sit on the floor and stretch. I love a certain tea. I love to turn down the lights and put on a nice soothing sound. Like we want it to be so yummy, this routine, that you don't want to miss it. I'm allowing my body to rest. And that's a whole other episode, right? Like allowing ourselves to actually rest.
My kids have the light bulb. One of them has light bulbs that are all automatic and they turn different colors and you could do that. One of them has the Hatch alarm clock that when it comes on, it lightens up. Like they probably have the nighttime thing that goes with it. And then the other one has an Aura ring and she tracks her sleep all the time. It's so amazing. Her scores are always in the 90s, but then we were just on vacation and her score was like 70 or something because we stayed up late and, she didn't follow her normal routine. But I think that just what she shared about that is so interesting. Like if you want to track your sleep, that is ideal.
And you can get trackers and stuff like that, and that's fine. But even before you even do that, just get a piece of paper that you have in your junk drawer that already exists and just write like, what time did I go to sleep?
Oh yeah, we're doing simple. Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, I want to get an Oura ring too. It's on my list. But if we want to keep it really simple, we're literally getting a piece of paper and writing what time did we go to bed? How many times did we wake up in the night? And then what time did we wake up in the morning? And you're trying to figure out like, how much sleep did I really get? You can go deeper into how much of it was actually REM sleep. And we can talk about, there's so many reasons, by the way, why you wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. And some of it is blood sugar related. Okay. So there's so much we could talk about sleep, but it's a profound first step.
Okay. Rachel, I hate it that we have to go, but this has been really good. I love keeping it simple and our body is giving us signals. Those are two things I'm walking away with for sure. And tell us where people can find you.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Carta RN. That's Carta is my last name, RN on Instagram. I'd love to see you there. And I have a free gift for you that you can find at rachelcartarn.com/lasting health. And it's also on my website at the very top, rachelcartarn.com. And this is a free guide called Why You Still Feel Off, What Your Symptoms Are Telling You. So if you want to kind of understand how to get started, this is a great guide. And again, you'll also get a free 5-minute breathing exercise. And I'm going to make a movement one too, so that your audience is supported in all the ways. And then the last way they could find me is listening to my podcast that's called Living Inspired with Rachel Carta RN. And I have a lot of great episodes on there about everything we talked about. So you could really learn more that way.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to start with being in tune with what my body is telling me, how it's feeling, and kind of be more aware of that.
That is the exact first step. So thank you, Tracy. I've just loved talking to you as always. And I hope that you enjoy listening to your body and get a lot of great information from that.
Okay, go sign up with Rachel. If you guys are having issues like this, if you want healing, if you want to dive deeper into it, go sign up with her. And thanks again, Rachel, for being here.
Thank you, Tracy.
Wait, if you're finding this podcast useful, you must check out the Organized Coach Academy. It's my course where I walk you through every step to get your business organized, to get yourself organized, to save money and time, to prepare to hire someone, to do all the things that you want to do in your business with ease. Check that out at simplysquaredaway.com/OCA. Also, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but I would love it. It's my way of knowing that you're enjoying the podcast if you leave a written review. I have lots of freebies for you. They're linked in the show notes. You can find them in my bio on Instagram at Tracy Hoth. And until next week, have a beautiful day.